2 weeks ago, we spoke with Stephen Ives in episode 66 about community engagement and the YMCA's participation in Goya Cares. Today, on The Balanced Voice, we welcome Bob Unanue, CEO of Goya and creator of Goya Cares, for a follow-up conversation about his vision for the program.
The way Goya Cares started is I met up with a good friend of mine, Eduardo Berastegui, actually at the White House. And, 13 years earlier, he had done this movie called Bella, which is about a girl considering abortion, and it was a great movie. Never really went too far. Little boy, and then he told me about, at this time, this is several years ago, a thing he was working on with Tim Ballard, Jim Caviezel, about trafficking of children, going in and rescuing children.
Bob was named president and CEO of Goya Foods in 2004 after a long tenure working for Goya, starting on the production line at a young age. Through his career, he has not only been instrumental in the success of the food company, but has personally dedicated much of his time to serving the community. Welcome to the Balanced Voice podcast. We're always so thrilled to be with you. I'm Rania and
Jennifer Homan,
my co-host for the season. We're so excited. And we have joining us from a satellite office in Houston, CEO of Goya Foods, Bob Unanue. Bob, welcome.
Thank you, Rania and Jennifer. It's so great to be with you. And you're great. Your work is so fantastic. Love what you do. And it's so important.
Well, we are thankful for you and the work you do. I mean, the family legacy is unbelievable. And preparing for, obviously, the podcast, I was reading about the generational creation of Goya, how it's grown, the family ties to it. It's just inspiring and unbelievable in every way. Now you sit as the CEO, and you're doing so much for the communities here and across the world. But Jen and I were really interested in the creation of Goya Cares. And all you're doing in that regard. Tell us why you started it and how it's going, what your goals are with it.
Well, thank you, Rania. And first of all, we call ourselves La Gran Familia Goya, which means the great Goya family. And we are family and of people from all nations around the world. And the United States happens to be the second largest Latino country in the world, soon to be the biggest group. And we're all a family. But that word seems to take on a new connotation these days because we're losing the family. In Brookshire, Texas, where we are right here in sunny Texas, sunny Houston, 70% of the children in Brookshire have no father present. And it's the absence of the father, it's the breakdown of the family. But the way Goya Cares started is I met up with a good friend of mine, Eduardo Berastegui, actually at the White House. And, 13 years earlier, he had done this movie called Bella, which is about a girl considering abortion, and it was a great movie. Never really went too far. Little boy, and then he told me about, at this time, this is several years ago, a thing he was working on with Tim Ballard, Jim Caviezel, about trafficking of children, going in and rescuing children. The border was one thing, but nothing had been done to go in and rescue these children. And as you know, there's 40 million people trafficked a year. It's a $250 billion business. I was down at the border a month or so ago with Myra Flores, and the Gulf cartel is an $80 billion business. They say. I don't know how they don't submit financial statements, but when you consider the amount of profit in this, and that the steps of trafficking are befriending or grooming, intoxicating, alienating, isolating, desensitizing. But the last number 6, but it's really number 1 is capitalizing, and that's profiting off of all this. And they're flooding the border. Now Title 42 will go away soon, and it's going to be flooded even further with people going in one end. But the getaways, which are by the thousands daily, are the people who are trafficking in drugs and people and children.
So you took all that, Bob, right? And seeing all these things happen across the globe, and you said, I've got to create Goya Cares to address some of these issues. And so what's that, those maybe couple things that you're saying, knowing the landscape, now what are the issues you are going after?
Well, first of all, it's awareness. Before I met Eduardo, and this beautiful movie, The Sound of Freedom, which is, if you can't go, you need a box of Kleenex to go through it. But it's just so devastating, and terrible, the abuse of young children, younger. I don't, you know more than I do, Jennifer. You're the most prolific, knowledgeable, caring, loving person in this world on this issue. And so, you know more than I about the.
You've learned a lot, Bob, and he says the 6 steps. Are you proud?
I know. When I was thinking the same. When you outlined the 6 steps of grooming, I was like, oh, #fight for us, Operation Texas Shield. It was fantastic. Awareness, though, it goes to the power of awareness. The fact that you recited that so quickly.
And think about the community he's tapping into.
Exactly. Yes, very powerful. Sorry, but go ahead, continue.
So, we're trying to reach, we're trying to support different groups. I wasn't aware until I met Eduardo. We're trying to help different groups. And what we're doing now is we're reaching out through TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, messages of awareness, but reaching out to the children. The children, are not watching television. They're not watching commercials. They're on these things 24/7. And it's also about mental health. The kids, they're committing suicide, having been locked down, but also this smartphone is 24/7. There's a story of this 14-year-old girl who she wants to date her girlfriend's ex-boyfriend. She gets bullied. They eventually send her a selfie where it's everybody there except for her, and she kills herself. We're bullying. When you have this thing face to face, you're not going to be that mean, perhaps, but behind this smartphone or dumb phone, you can be very evil. So we have one of the things we're putting out is a series called Pause, which is, hey, this is child. Life stinks. They don't think of themselves very much. They're desperate. They may be ready to commit suicide. So we have a QR code and a 800 number for Suicide Watch, and all of a sudden it's up. Hey, pause a minute. Take a step back. This is me. You are. I am you. 15 years from now, and guess what? Life is great. What you're passing through right now is a moment in time, but life is great. You have been chosen, and Goya cares because you are, you're cared for, and Goya cares because you're a precious gift from God. But people have to realize their value. We have been chosen, each one of us, even before we're formed, as the Bible says, before you were formed in the womb, I loved you, and we are all chosen with a purpose. The thing is, you can point to multiple things, but shutting us down, it took away our reason to get up every day, God, family, work. It takes away our purpose. You have to have a purpose. If you feel you don't have a purpose, the whole world is against you. And more and more, I grew up privileged, not privileged from the aspect of money, because we didn't always have that, but privileged from the aspect that I have parents. My mother, who was staying home, who loved us, cared for us. They passed away years ago, but I was privileged to have those parents. But how many kids today, they don't have anybody? So who do they turn to in a time of desperation, or even if they have parents, they're isolated because this smartphone isolates them, and so that you're being bullied. So mental health, devaluing life, taking away our spirit, our reason to get up, away, moving away from God. It's, there's all kind of fixes, but the fix is you got to love and care for each other.
Bob, I'm curious, you mentioned the Hispanic community in the US, they're number 2, soon to be number 1 largest demographic. And you run the largest Hispanic-based, food grocery store supplier. I mean, you do so much. Do you ever worry that you talk about issues that are maybe religious-based or politically targeted or whatever it might be? Do you ever worry that it will interfere or help or offend? Or I'm just curious because you're so vocal. Do you ever worry about the impact on your shoppers or at the grocery stores or the marketplace? Or are you just convicted and you're going to move forward no matter what? Or do you think you're speaking for the community?
Well, that's an interesting point. I was during COVID, we were shut down. Not the world was shut down, but we were not. We kept working. And I wanted to give a gift of, since we had food and there were the food banks were shut down, were empty, not shut down. People were hoarding. So we wanted to present a gift to the country and actually to the world of food. And we did so. We wanted to announce it to the chief executive at the time, was Donald Trump. And we had worked, by the way, with the Obamas with a thing called Let's Move and My Plate, portion control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I met with them and we did work with them. They identified us as being synonymous with the Latino community. So we were happy to do that. And we've been giving, we have a Goya Gives program too, which is about giving. The caring is more on the caring side, awareness of the trafficking and all those issues. But so we went to the White House and, I was also appointed a commissioner, the White House Commission on Hispanic Prosperity. And so this is the thing there, the ceremony. And they asked me to speak and I spoke. And I believe, I tell you, the Holy Spirit came on my lips and I said, we're blessed. We're blessed to have a president that's a builder. We're blessed, our country and all that. And those words appeared on my lips, or not appeared, were spoken through the Holy Spirit. And I didn't think anything would happen, but for the next 2 weeks, I mean, I was the poster boy and the target for the cancel culture. And it catapulted me. For example, we're talking today because of that. And people were fearful. Hey, we're going to, using bless and Donald J. Trump in the same sentence is going to alienate our customers. It's going to alienate our customers. So, but it didn't. The exact opposite thing happened. We kept our core consumer. We lost some elites like AOC, who we made later. Sales went so well, we named her Employee of the Month. Julian Castro, Lin-Manuel Miranda. We lost the elites that don't consume our products. But we got there's a Casey, this gentleman works with Eric Bolling on his show when he was on Newsmax, I believe. He did a GoFundMe for $320,000. They went out. Everybody I run into that recognized me say, "Look, I went out and bought your product," and I said, "Oh, it was you." But everybody did that. Our sales went through the roof, and yes, people were fearful. I mean, I was asked to apologize. So you apologize and then you're fired. I said, "Hell no, I'm not going to apologize." And by using blessed, today there's a thing on. They're talking about actors in Hollywood that being black, being shunned for talking about God. God is under attack. This is a battle. There's no doubt of good and evil, And, what's the things that are happening are, end times, if you will. But, the end time is for each of us is, and my father told me, and my brothers and sisters, your goal in life is salvation. So your end time is your own end time. And, we have to strive for salvation. And, we can't have the Holy Spirit means courage. And we have to have courage to stand up. And that means that you're fired, you're sued, you're beaten up. So be it. We're basically have to be modern day martyrs.
Thank you to our sponsor FlipLock for making this episode possible. FlipLock is a door lock unlike any other lock that was created as a nationwide, straightforward solution to protect your people, whether that be in universities, dorms, daycares, hospitals, or even government buildings. It can be added to nearly any door to keep you and yours safe. We are proud to have such a strong and like-minded sponsor of the Balanced Voice podcast. Check out FlipLock at fliplock.com. That's FLIPLOK.com.
Bob, I was telling Rania, I have to tell you, I feel so blessed and tons of humility that I feel like the Goya family. You've made me by coming in and us talking about our work in trafficking. Y'all enveloped me, and I feel like I'm a part of the Goya family. And so, what I was telling Rania is, you have this saying that the only thing that separates the Latin community is the bean. That every it's my favorite saying. And so, do you still feel that way? Do you still feel that the only thing that separates is, the black bean is loved in this country and the kidney bean in that one? But do you feel like as a community, how are y'all feeling as a community? I think we had this question, right?
Yeah, sorry, if you were going to speak to that, I don't want to interrupt you, but I'll just elaborate very quickly. We were talking about this, Crime Stoppers, we look at public safety all day, every day. That's what we study. And there seems to be this effort to lump communities into one singular thought about certain topics. We were uniquely talking about, Hispanic cultures and how leaders will say, we're taking this position for the sake of the Hispanic or the Latino population, and almost like one brush stroke, every single one thinks exactly the same on this issue. And I find that very interesting, because when we go talk in communities about public safety, again, that's all we do, we find that there are very different opinions on every topic. And there are people who are very conservative, who are think completely differently on this one issue than their partners who are also very conservative. And then there are people who are liberal, who will be very liberal on one issue and then very conservative on another. So it's been interesting to me to see communities lumped together and sort of brushed with that one stroke. And that's when Jenn said, it made her think of that comment you made about the community and the being, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah. Well, that comment came from a gentleman from Cuba who was one of the pillars of our company, and he's passed recently. But his saying at the Smithsonian was, as Latinos, we're united by language, we're separated by the bean. And we all got a chuckle out of that. And I'm not going to steal his line, but that's where I got it from. But it's interesting you say this, because, yes, we are every country, Latino country in the world, here in this country. We're 70 million. We will be the biggest group, they say, by 2050. I'd say at this rate, maybe in the next week or two. It's out of control. But to me, there's great hope, because as a Latino community, I can't say that more than any community, but as being the biggest group and maybe the future of this country, it's a good thing in that what the Latino community is also united by is God, family, and work. There's more businesses start up by Latinos. It's more prolific in that respect. I go to church in English language and in Spanish language. The English language, there's no kids there. Where are the children? And in the Spanish language, the whole family is there. It's the whole family. So it's God, family, work. And if this country needs to turn around, needs to move closer to God. If we don't do it, we're done. And we are the country that is going to protect the people who need protection. And look what we did in Afghanistan, Ukraine. We're not helping. We're letting the border be a cesspool of abuse, rape, and murder of our children, and abuse. And so, but there is hope. I believe that the Latino community can be the community that is God family work. And you just have to go to the church and see what a beautiful thing it is to have the whole family at Mass, and not just, and it's not the case. I mean, the average age, I'm 68, the average age of the person in an English language Mass, and I'm Catholic, is like 92. I'm teasing. But, you go to the Latinos and it's the whole family. That's, you're down to like an average age of 20. Mm-hmm. So there's tremendous hope there.
Bob, yesterday we met with Mattress Mac McInville and his daughter Liz. And so it was interesting. They kind of said the same things, right? Do you see the similarities?
Yeah, there are similarities.
A very successful family, a generational family of community service. And they had tenets. They had deep principles and tenets that they spoke to. And their family kind of had these little taglines. What are those taglines in your family? What are those tenets in your family that you and Tony and Bob Jr., they all kind of run by that you've set forth?
Well, we get together in different locations, and we always start with God. And we have our famous tagline that my grandfather came up with, which is, if it's Goya, it has to be good. But I'd say our best tagline is La Gran Familia Goya, the great Goya family. And we are a family. We are a family in all of our places. We're part of a greater family, which is the Latino community. We're part of a greater family, which is the U.S. community and the world. During COVID, we also sent food to Venezuela, to Central America, and other countries, because we're not just U.S. based. We are, and we have locations around the world. So the Goya family, that's our main thing, and we're a family of God. And within my own family personally, and it's what we use all the time, which my father had said, who passed in 1976, our goal in life is salvation.
Bob, I think I want to wrap up, and I want to wrap up by saying this to you. I have seen, it's been interesting. I've gotten calls from Bob or texts from Bob that say, Jennifer, I was just at this situation. I think I've seen a girl that is in trouble. Or I just met a family at a restaurant. They felt comfortable to come to me and tell me that they were having challenges with their children. How can you help this girl? And so I really want to commend you, Bob, and thank you for meeting with us, because you really do live it out in your life. You're one of the very few companies and organizations that I have seen, and I have access to a lot of them, that from the top to the bottom truly believe in the motto of family and serving other families, as well as putting yourself out there and speaking to these issues that are very hard to talk about, and bringing those to attention, as well as putting your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, I want to add to that too, because Goya Cares is dedicated $2 million to trafficking, or to combat trafficking. So here's sort of the challenge to the community. The goal of the Balanced Voice podcast is to have, very diverse conversations on every topic imaginable, and to still be committed to service. And so I've had people say to me in the past, you can't partner with this person, they're too conservative. You can't partner with that person, they're too liberal. You can't talk to this, you can't talk to that. And what we have to decide is, there are children being raped, there are children being murdered, there are women in domestic violence situations that cannot get out of their homes, there are people being robbed, walking their dogs in the park. We have to focus on solutions, and we have to hold the hands of anybody willing to focus on those solutions as well. So I promise you, there isn't one rape victim in this country that's saying, no, I want to continue getting trafficked and raped until I'm being helped by somebody that has the same political views as me. We separate the conversations out. We're thankful for the conviction, for the determination, for the heart to help others. Bob, you've really inspired me in the sense that you don't care about the backlash. You're going to follow your convictions, and whether people agree or disagree, we applaud people who can stand on their faith and tenets and serve. And so we thank you so much for that and for the work you're doing to protect so many kids, so many families here and across the world. Really, we do thank you for that.
Well, thank you, Rania and Jennifer. And the thing is, you can throw the solution for the government is to throw money at things. And you can take all the money in the world and you're not going to solve a thing. We need to move closer to God. But the work that you do, like I did call Jennifer several times on people in need, but if she wasn't there, she didn't have the heart and the love to and the knowledge to help them. Yourself, Rania, with Crime Stoppers also. And if people don't have a place to go where people who care, it's not about, yes, we need money to operate, and that's very important. But if we didn't have you, both of you and others that care, that is priceless. You can't put a price on that. And that's what this world needs, is to have people who care and can make a difference, and people you can call. You got the number there. So it's so important that there is a number to call, and we need to support that. And the love and caring that you both have it's just fantastic, and just proud to be to know you and to help if we can.
Thank you for being with us on the Balanced Voice podcast, and to everybody else, we'll catch you next time. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to today's Balanced Conversation. You can find real solutions and tangible resources in our show notes at thebalancedvoicepodcast.com. To join the conversation, follow us on Instagram at The Balanced Voice Podcast and on Twitter at @BalancedVoice_. Stay up to date on Rania's work by following her at The Rania Report, and we can't wait to see you next week for another Balanced Conversation.